When I decided to marry my soulmate, I genuinely believed our love was unbreakable, a connection so deep that nothing in the world could shatter it. Our relationship was built on trust, and I couldn't fathom a situation where that trust would ever waver. But, as life often does, it threw me an unexpected twist, one I never saw coming. Now, I feel compelled to share this story because it changed everything for me. I had known Rita for what felt like forever. We grew up in the same neighborhood, attended the same schools, and spent so many years together that I was certain I understood her completely. People say you can be with someone for a lifetime and still never truly know the depths of their soul. Looking back now, I realize just how painfully true that is. I learned this lesson the hard way, and the wound it left still lingers like a dagger in my back. Even now, when I reflect on those days, a mixture of disbelief and sorrow washes over me. It all began on New Year's Eve. Rita casually mentioned that her office was hosting a party, an event she simply couldn't miss. At first, I didn't think much of it. She had recently been promoted, and I understood her desire to celebrate with her team. Meanwhile, my company was throwing its own event on the same night. These kind of gatherings were usually meant for couples, and for years, we had always attended together. But this time I went alone. My colleagues wasted no time teasing me. Letting your wife out of sight on New Year's Eve? Dangerous move, one of them joked. What if someone swoops in and steals her away? Another added with a grin. I laughed it off, brushing aside their remarks. No one's managed to steal me away yet. I quipped. Jealousy had never been an issue in our relationship. I trusted Rita completely. So, their teasing didn't bother me, at least not at first. But somewhere deep inside me, a tiny seed of unease had been planted. By the time that feeling began to take root, it was already too late. Looking back now, I wish I had gone to her office party instead. But I didn't. I let my guard down, believing everything was fine, and continued enjoying my own event. I didn't drink much that night, but as the hours passed, something felt off. Stepping outside to get some fresh air, I let the cool breeze clear my mind. Just as I was about to head back inside, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Not just one, several emails, all from the same sender. A strange feeling crept over me. My first instinct was to brush it off. If something had happened to Rita, I would have gotten a call, not cryptic messages. Still, an uneasiness settled in my chest. I tried to ignore it for the moment, but as the party reached its peak and crowd gathered outside for fireworks, a sinking feeling told me something wasn't right. I stepped out into the cold night air once more. My phone buzzed again, same unknown sender. At first, I was ready to dismiss it as spam, but something stopped me. A voice inside whispered for me to open it. As I read the first message, it hit me like a punch to the gut. My breath caught in my throat. I reread it, hoping I had misunderstood, but the meaning was unmistakable. I opened the next message, and it was even worse. The words accused Rita of something unthinkable. And the worst part? The sender seemed eerily familiar. I couldn't place exactly who they were, but the implications of their message were undeniable. Rita's absence from the party, her failure to return my calls, it all fueled the fire of my growing fear. Above me, fireworks burst in brilliant colors, but my mind was in chaos. Doubt and suspicion crashed over me like waves in a storm. I couldn't stay there. I had to see for myself. I left the party in a hurry, making my way to the nearest bus stop. With a stroke of luck, I managed to hail a taxi. The quiet street stretched endlessly before me as I raced toward Rita's office, each second tightening the knot in my stomach. When I arrived, I rushed inside, my heart hammering my chest. That's when I ran into one of her colleagues. She grabbed my arm, her expression grim, and pointed toward her boss's office. "I saw your wife go in there," she whispered. Bracing myself for the worst, I pushed open the door. What I saw inside shattered me. There they were, Rita and her boss, together in a way that left no room for doubt. The evidence was undeniable. Every assumption, every worry, every fear I had tried to suppress came crashing down on me at once. It felt as if the ground beneath me had given way. A surge of anger overtook me. Without thinking, I kicked the door open wider and lunged at her boss, landing a punch squarely across his face. My rage threatened to consume me, but something deep inside held me back from doing worse. Later, I learned the truth about the messages. They had come from a friend of hers, the same person who had led me to the office that night. I never asked about her motivations, and perhaps I never will. Maybe she thought she was helping me. Maybe she had her own reasons. But it didn't matter. The damage had already been done. And yet, despite everything, I couldn't shake my feeling for Rita. Even now, her memory lingers, haunting me like a ghost I can't escape. And one question keeps echoing in my mind. Should I be grateful to the person who shattered my world? Or would I have been better off never knowing the truth? They say ignorance is bliss. But once you know, there's no going back. On one hand, I couldn't live with a lie. On the other, knowing the truth destroyed the reality I thought I had. And somehow, I know there will never be an answer that truly satisfies me.